Hi, welcome to Strength Coach TV. I'm Anthony Renna. This is the show where we take you inside some of the country's best fitness facilities, give you a tour, sit down with the owners, talk a little bit of shop. Today we're heading out to my friend John Gaglione of Gaglione Strength in Farmingdale, Long Island. They give new meaning to the phrase Strong Island. John mostly works with powerlifters, although he's expanding his market. And that's kind of what I love about this facility too, the culture that he set up there. Also, John is, he's kind of scratching his own itch. He is a powerlifter himself, so he's part of his demographic as well. And I've kind of seen John's career grow over the last 6 or 7 years. We did a workshop, an HKC workshop together in Connecticut about 7 years ago, and I've seen him from just being a trainer to opening his own place to really becoming a leader in our field with education as well. They hold a lot of education out of his facility as well. So he's doing great things. He keeps growing. I just love everything that they're doing there, especially the culture that he's set up. So let's head out to Farmingdale to Gaglione Strength. All right, guys, hey, welcome to Strength Coach TV. I'm Anthony Renna. I'm here with my friend John Gaglione at Gaglione Strength. We're in Farmingdale, giving true meaning to Strong Island.
Putting the strong in Strong Island,
there
that's
right. John, talk to us about, we're here on this side. I had to film this side first because like I'm seeing some stuff I have no idea what it is. So I'm excited about that piece. But how long have you been in this location?
Yeah, so for those you guys have been following any of our stuff, we've actually just expanded last May, so it'll be a year very soon. So we're kind of celebrating our year since the expansion. We've been 5 years kind of in Farmingdale. So basically, like last year, we took over another unit. We kind of moved a couple of doors down just to accommodate. We want to looking to train some different populations. Also, kind of now we're hosting meets out of here. We're doing more seminars, things like that. Nice. So in the past, we could only kind of do smaller things, or we had to rent a truck, put all the equipment in the truck, and so it just kind of gives us a little more flexibility for events and things like that. So we can kind of just do a little bit more than just coach people. We want to kind of reach people in different ways and kind of spread the message of strength, and also kind of support kind of help powerlifting, the sport of powerlifting, grow as well.
Good stuff. Now, square footage in this facility.
Yeah, so about both kind of bays are around 1,200-ish or so. So it's a little just under 2,500 square foot. And the kind of way it works out, we kind of joke it's kind of like heaven and hell, but we got the strength side over here, all the heavy duty lifting on this side. Some of our general pop we just started in the kind of the warm up area, and then when we do speaking events, will be done on the other side, as well as warm ups and anything like that. So
good stuff. How many employees?
So right now we have 2 coaches that one's kind of focused more on the strength side of things, one's focused more on the general pop side of things. We also have a kind of retired police officer who kind of will be a little bit of a substitute coach, or kind of coach when we need somebody if I'm away or anything like that. I'm doing a little bit less coaching myself, but I can't really keep away from it for too long.
Of course.
Doing a little bit more online stuff and kind of managing and just being an owner, doing the programming and things like that. And then we just also have a massage therapist here. And then our other coaches, he does some nutrition coaching, and one of our strength coach also does some fascial stretch therapy. So we kind of offer some different things, trying to offer more things in-house. So we can kind of just cover all our bases as far as to kind of build that, ultimate kind of strength athlete, keep them healthy, strong, and improve their performance.
Absolutely, nice. Talk to me a little bit about who's, obviously we know this was originally a powerlifting gym for the most part, right? I mean, but you're starting to get into some general pop. So give us an idea of who your client is.
Yeah, so basically what we're trying to offer, and kind of the reason the gym is laid out the way it is, and this is kind of just, someone kind of walks into this side, even though someone who's kind of been in the game for a while, it's a little bit intimidating. You might see some you might even see some girls lifting 300-400 pounds sometimes, which is kind of crazy if you're kind of just some dude off the street that's just trying to, get healthy and fit. So that's why we kind of have separated the gym the way it is, so we can just kind of say, well, if your goal is more kind of fat loss, or you're just getting started, we have our fit camp workouts is more body weight kettlebells, bands, sleds, more lower impact type stuff, lower level stuff, entry level things. And then, I got my start training athletes like when we first met. So we still train like a lot of wrestlers, football players, things like that.
Yep.
Still not a huge part of the business, but we do still get a lot of athletes coming in. They do very well. And then, the biggest part of the business now, which I would have thought, is we get like a lot of people that are just coming in to get stronger. They want to learn the barbell lifts. I think with the popularity of CrossFit and things like that, more people are kind of seeing the advantage of the barbell and not being as afraid of it, but they want to learn the proper way to do it. They want to get that instruction. Sure. So it might be someone that just wants to get into strength training recreationally. They want to put some muscle on. They want to get stronger. They want to be more fit. Or on like the other side, they might want to be getting ready for their first powerlifting meet. Or like I said, like even next month, I'm traveling to Texas for collegiate nationals, and then the U.S. Open, which is like the biggest powerlifting meet in history as far as money payout.
Okay.
So I mean, we train like the top people, and then like everything like in between, as far as with programming, kind of getting people ready for competitions. But the main theme, and it's why it's Strengths in the Gym title, is we get people strong, and that's what we specialize on.
Good stuff. Now, when you go to an event like that, are you going as Team Gaglione Strength, or are you going as John Gaglione coach?
Yeah, so one thing, we actually always use the hashtag G-Team. We always, on our singlet, says G-Team down the back. So as much as my name is in the title, I really try and make it more about the community and everyone else. So I might be kind of like leading the charge. But it's really about the people behind me, and that's what really makes it special. So when we come, everyone's got like, their singlets on. We got a night, we got our coach's shirts. So we come in when we're at a meet, like you kind of know we're there, we're a presence, and everyone's kind of working together. So if someone is not competing, the other guys and girls are helping each other out. They're helping spot and load the plates.
Yeah.
And, that's like one thing that I'm probably most proud of, is the sense of community and the fact that people help each other out, because squatting, benching, deadlifting some heavy weight is hard enough as it is. So it's really nice to have that support kind of behind you.
Sure.
That's one of the biggest things that we kind of preach here.
That's one thing that I've noticed from afar, and we'll probably talk about it when we sit down afterwards. I just, the sense of community that you've built, obviously you're a likable guy, and and what I was saying earlier to you is you're your demographic, which is you can't always get away with.
Sure.
But it's so great to see. I was telling you about, talking about my friend Todd Giorgi. Todd, New York Strong. I mean, he does it. He lives it. He loves it. You know, like you and this stuff. And like you were talking about the women, I always loved Woman Crush Wednesdays that you have, right? You're always showing some women like picking up some big weight. It's awesome. I mean, it's great from afar watching your social media and seeing Gaglione Strength. Some of the great stuff you guys are doing here. So good stuff. So let's go. Let's see the place.
All right, cool. All right, guys. So when you first walk in here, you kind of go through the doors. You kind of can see all like the pictures. Some of our athletes here got a little bit of a wall of fame. So we got some of our powerlifters. You can see quite a bit of like collegiate athletes, some soccer players, football, and a lot of wrestling. Some of our like state champions, some NCAA qualifiers,
John, tell
which
us
is pretty
about
cool.
This. I love this idea.
Yeah, so this is something I really love, and one thing we would like to do is showcase our athletes' accomplishments, and it kind of makes them feel really good. So these are all our nationally ranked lifters from over the years. I think I'm starting to lose track, which is a good thing, but I think we're helped over 36, I believe, is the number now.
Wow.
And then if you kind of look at here, I don't know if you guys know who Mark Bell is. He's kind of big into the fitness, but I was featured in Power Magazine with one of our athletes, Larry Williams, who broke an all-time world record. So he's kind of like the best in the world in his weight class at 242. So we kind of showcase those things. We have some, one of our football players. He's the all-time leading rusher in all Nassau County history, which is pretty great accomplishment. He's playing football in college now. Some of our other, features that we've been in magazines and stuff like that. And we also, one of the things for the Sense community, we have an artist that kind of does like Client of the Month and things like that. So it'll kind of make you like a cartoon version of yourself, and we kind of give those out as like awards for kind of like just not always like just like lifting a lot of weight, but your improvement as well, because we think that's really important as well. So when we come in, we'll do our consult. It's a little bit closed off. It's not 100% closed off, but you can see we have like the in-body scale in here, some of our gear. So this will kind of measure like your body fat percentage. So you might not think it'd be important for a powerlifting gym, but it can help us kind of dictate which weight class they should go in, so what's going to be their optimal weight class, what's going to be the most competitive, and that can give us a little bit of an edge because we can actually see like not just the scale number, but their body fat, how much muscle they're carrying, if there's any discrepancy to the right and left side and things like that.
I would have never thought that, John. When I saw that, I really thought, okay, that's for you expanding into general pop. So it's something I really wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah, so just, for us, it's always about kind of like, how can we take it to the next level and how can we deliver a better service for our people? Because, nowadays with the internet and stuff, anyone can kind of be an online, get a program, they can go to their local gym and there's a barbell there and they can power lift, but actually getting that experience and getting that coaching and all those like little amenities can really like help, and just the sense of community as well. People will, yes?
Checking in right there?
Yes, people will check in here. So we use front desk here, and so people will kind of check in here. Okay. So this was one of our classes from the morning, so you can kind of see the schedule there. So just kind of, so we'll kind of walk in through here.
John, what's up with the bell?
So we just have like a little PR bell if someone hits like a record here.
Oh, awesome.
Just like kind of like, get some people attention and stuff. But yeah, just little things like that.
I thought it was like the Navy SEALs, like ring the bell and
and sometimes if I need to get some people's attention, but I've usually got a pretty good voice, so we don't have to use it too much. So here, we kind of like have some different mobility and like soft tissue tools that we'll kind of grab depending on the person. As far as like with a lot of the soft tissue stuff, we don't want our athletes to be like kind of rolling on the foam roller for like an hour, but be more targeted so we know if they have like a certain issue and we kind of see that they have some movement restrictions, we'll kind of give them some targeted stuff. It might be like a filler in between their first exercise or like before or after the session when we come in. A lot of like the assistance work stuff, so we have like the glute ham raise, some like lat pull down stuff. This might be something that's a little bit different.
Yeah, what is that?
So this is a spreader bar. So one of the things I'm a big fan of, whether it be using bands or machines, is more like kind of free flowing, so it's going to accommodate your body. So as a power lifter, you're always on the straight bar for bench, squat, and deadlift. So we want to try and get athletes away from the straight bar when they do their assistance work. So that would be body weight bands. We have the different center mass bells, which you'll see over there. So it's just going to be more accommodating to the body. So with the straight bar, they're going to be more fixed. With that, I can kind of go whatever angle is accommodates my body, whether you're a big guy or a small girl. So those little small tweaks make a big difference. So you can kind of see there's some different, apparatuses here, some posterior chain stuff. So really big on that. So we'll do some of the assistance work here. I know Mike Boyle would appreciate these guys. These are some of the old Bulgarian split squat pads. So we'll use with some of our general pop and some of the athletes for overall balance. The single leg is in training just for like injury prevention for a power lifter, and it's great exercise for general pop as well.
What about this board here?
Yeah.
I know like you got a mix of people on both sides, but is this for the average person? Is this the average person?
Yeah, so this is actually for the athletes. So we have high school records and collegiate records. And in some of them you can still see are pretty still like some good numbers. We also have pull-ups on there. So one of the things, the reasons why we'll test like pull-ups, we don't just want athletes just to kind of just get strong and put on a lot of body weight. So the chin-ups kind of keep their body weight in check, and we know that if they can improve their relative strength, a lot of times their speed is going to like also go up as a result as well. So if they know if their numbers are going up and their chin-ups are able to maintain or increase, we know that's a good sign. They're getting stronger, and they're also getting stronger pound for pound. This is kind of another like kind of unique piece of equipment. These center mass bells. These are by my buddy Donnie Thompson. So you can kind of
show us.
So basically, you kind of put your hand through the weight. So if I'm doing any type of rotational movements, so if I'm an athlete or whatever, I'm doing a row or whatever the case may be, there's no like, the weight is very close to your body, so it kind of eliminates like kind of a lot of that rotational effect that you would get from a dumbbell. So again, if you're training athletes, you want to do some certain movement patterns. I really like these for like rows or any type of pressing and things like that. Just a little bit more comfortable on the body. If you're doing something like a dumbbell press, you can kind of tuck your elbows in and kind of flare them out and kind of mimic that a little bit better. The dumbbell doesn't kind of like hit your chest or anything like that on the way down. So just a little bit more like, I think it's a little bit easier on the body. If I was doing like a curl and starting here and then kind of going through like pronation and supination. So again, anything for me that's going to be more accommodating for the body and limit joint stress for like these smaller exercises is going to be a win for me. We got some boxes here for some some box jumps just for power and things like that. We got the sleds here. TRXs, and you can kind of see how like the room is laid out. We got like different stations, so we might, for the adults, do a lot of body weight training and stuff over here. We got different band attachments. One thing like also on the wall, we're kind of big on just having like different power words and things that we're kind of about. So we got purpose, respect, integrity, consistency, energy. So these are kind of things that we kind of want to bring to the workout and also bring to each other all the time. And all this thing, we always say you want to be all in, you want to be 100% committed to your goal. And we talked about like the aspect of the team, and that's one thing that we want to. So we have a lot of these words and things and little like anchors throughout like the gym. And we just want to always have our athletes be in a good positive mindset, even if they're like not really aware of it. So we have like those things. And then we got the sleds here, which is just good for conditioning, battle ropes. So you can kind of see if we kind of, for the adults, we can kind of set up stations, kind of run through them pretty quickly, get a big group in here, and just be very efficient as far as logistics and things like that. One of the things that we're big on, I think that, especially with the online stuff, everyone kind of wants that special Snowflake customized program, which is really cool, and that's great, especially if you're at a high level. But unfortunately, most people don't really need that. That you got to be really brilliant at the basics. I think it was like Mark Vergestein said, like, do the simple things savagely well. That's one thing that always kind of rang true with me. And I think adding that good coaching plus that group environment, giving that energy, giving that like little boost and keeping you on track, keeping you consistent. So those little consistent workouts over time lead to big results, and that's what we're kind of big on. And that's kind of why we train the groups the way we do. And we kind of emphasize kind of the team atmosphere. So once we're kind of done warming up in there, we'll come back in here. And depending on like what the workout is for the day, what we do with our powerlifting team is we might have a day that's really emphasized on squats. We might have a day that's emphasized on bench press or upper body training. We might have a day that's emphasized on deadlifts. The sets and reps and program will kind of depend on if they have a meet coming up or anything like that. But in general, we try and keep them together as much as possible. And you can see we have some specialty equipment here. So you guys might be familiar with like the collegiate racks. I had these once when I was in Syosset, and they've held up really well. One thing, so this is a monolift, so this is something that you'll see like a powerlifting competition. So what's really cool about this is, let's say me and Anthony were squatting together, we have slightly different heights. So he's gonna need it so rather than him having to take it out the same from the short guy's height, I could adjust the height like this, and I could have the athletes do a rack height that's accommodating for them. So this might be a good height for Anthony, and this might be a good height for me. And we can adjust it based on the person, so giving them a better starting position. For a power lifter, it also eliminates kind of the walkout part, which I'll just kind of show you quick. So you don't have to use it for this, but if I wanted to, I could just kind of get under here, and this will swing out. So I don't need to actually walk the weight out. So someone would kind of be standing here. So yeah. Cool. So like for me, like I'm actually getting ready for like a really big squat that I'm gonna be doing soon. So like for me, like, having to walk out 800, 900 pounds, it's very taxing. It's a lot of chance for injury. So if I could just stand up, get in a really good position, lock in, it's gonna give me a better start and hopefully yield a better finish because I'm really grounded there. Another thing that's kind of something we've been playing with too, this guy here, by Squats and Science, this is a velocity device. So this can measure bar speed. So let's say if I'm working with an athlete or I'm just trying to develop explosive strength, it'll keep them honest. So if you guys ever do like dynamic effort training, it'll kind of give you the meters per second and keep you honest as far as what is actually truly speed work. If I'm trying to work in a certain range for whatever type strength quality I'm trying to improve, it'll kind of keep me honest. So as I'm kind of going down, if I do a squat here, I'll kind of come down, I'll come up, and this will kind of come up here. The velocity will be measured on the screen, which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
So next thing that would be kind of specialty would be these calibrated plates. We got ours through Rogue. So these are super accurate. So what you might not realize is a 45-pound plate is not always a 45-pound plate. It might be 46, 47, 43. And as you're, like I said, if you're like a 700-pound squatter, if you have all those like mistakes, that could really make a big difference and not really prepare you for the meet properly. So these are kind of accurate to a couple of grams, so they're super accurate. So you know that if I put a 45 plate on, you know it's 45 pounds.
Yeah.
And these will also be used for competition, so just to kind of make sure that the weights are actually what they say, so it's more like official. So we have another monolift here, some other racks. So basically what we try and do is we'll try and set up 2 or 3 stations, depending on if it's a squat workout or not, whatever the barbell is, if we're using straight weight, bands and chains. And here we got some of the records on here. So some are extremely, some I might as well write in permanent marker on here, and others might be a little bit easier to get. We got some holes in there.
I see some Gagliones in there. Is that your mom?
Yeah, that's not my mom. So yeah, so I've had a couple of decent lifts in my day.
Nice.
One of the things we always talk about is kind of leading the front, leading by example. So that's one of the main reasons I still compete. I do it for fun. It's something to train for. It gives me a target. But also I want my athletes to know that I'm going through the same workouts and, blood, sweat, and tears that they are, and I'm getting under the same kind of weight. And I think they respect that, and I think they definitely gives them something to look up to and aspire to as well. And there's some athletes, like I said, like some of our real top level athletes that are better than me, and I think that's a sign of a good coach, that you can create someone that's even surpasses your abilities, even if you're at a high level. So yeah, and I think it's something that the athletes can look up to here. One of the other things that we do, we have like a private Facebook group for our members, and we'll have like a top 10 list for squat, bench, and deadlift in total. So maybe they can't get on for a certain weight class, but they can improve their strength, so they can kind of make that list. And it just gives them something to shoot for, and it gives them a purpose for training. And that's one of the biggest things I love about powerlifting, is that you can go to a meet, you could say I want to squat 55 pounds or 800 pounds. You choose your attempts, and you could focus on your personal records and keep getting better over time. And it gives you something to focus on versus maybe the scale or your body image, or it gives you something positive, and you focus on your performance. And a lot of times your confidence, your mental self, and your physical self will kind of change as a result too.
Very cool, John. Let's go sit down. I want to talk some business with you, and talk about maybe some of the challenges you've had.
Cool.
All right, John, good stuff. Let's talk a little bit about, let's start at the name. I mean, and the one thing...
It's always a good question.
Yeah. The one thing with naming something after yourself, there are some positives. We talked to Eric Cressy about it. We talked to Mike Boyle about it a little bit. With you, the one thing is, like I said, you are your demographic,
Yes.
so it does help a little bit, because you are known. You have a good social media presence. You're talking the talk. You're walking the walk. But I know in the future it always is John here, so talk to us about the challenges that you've had with that.
So the first thing I'll say is there are definitely advantages and disadvantages to it. It is what it is. I think that if I would go back, I probably would change it, but it's also one of those things where you have this vision and you don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So it's hard to kind of really foresee the future sometimes, and which is why we kind of again, going back to talking about the G team and just making it more okay, and using just how your language, saying us and we versus me or mine, it's our team, it's our gym. I think that's really important as a leader, that it's not just about you, and it's about the people under you, and about taking care of them and taking care of all your clients and your teammates. I don't even like to use the word client. If you ever watched, I usually try and say it's our teammate. Because I just feel it's a different level of feeling. Yeah. It's a different level of relationship and trust that you have with that person when you're a teammate versus oh, this is my client, which is nothing wrong with that. Just that's kind of the language that we use, and I think it's very helpful. I will say, I think that people do want, in this online world, people do want to see what you're about and what you're doing.
Sure.
So I think that even if you have a brand, let's say this was called Long Island Powerlifting and performance or something, I think it's important to tell the people what it is.
Yeah.
So I think always that example Alan Cosgrove, of course it's his business, but Results Fitness, it's very clear what Results Fitness is. But if I saw Cressy Performance on a paper, I don't know really what that is.
Yeah.
So I think that's important, but I do think that it's not something you can't overcome. I think I would just make the business name very simple, easy to remember, and tell the people what you're about. But I do think that you still need your own personal brand, regardless, in this day and age with the internet, and people want to see what you're doing. So regardless, I think it's important that you still have your story and you still have documenting what you're doing, because I think people want to see what you're about and what you're and they want to kind of learn more about you, and then they can trust you, and then they can kind of go into the business.
Yeah.
So because I've had people that come in, they've been following me for like months, and it's like, and then they finally like come in, and they're just like, everyone's different as far as like what level of like trust they need before they actually come and contact you. So I think it's important that you have your own personal brand, regardless of like what the name of the business is. So
let's talk about obviously like that kind of future thing. And there's two areas we're going to go. We're going to talk about like where it's going with online training as well. But I also want to talk about kind of being able to come in here. You've expanded to this side. You have some adult. Your mom's coming. I love it.
It's awesome.
But how are you managing that kind of intimidation factor? Because I got to admit, I've been doing this for a long time, but I still come in and be like, oh man, that side, I don't know if I'm ready for that side. You know what I mean? Like, how are you managing that?
So one thing that I just started doing too is I made a separate page for this Fit Camp program. So it's like if people don't so let's say if I'm like running an ad or something to Gaglione Strength and they see some jacked guy with a shirt off deadlifting 800 pounds, my mom is not going to click on that. Or they might, click around. The ad might be for them, but then they click around to the page and they're like, I don't know if this is for me.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that if you're running ads or whatever it is, like that site or whatever that page really reflects their needs and what they want. I also think it's really important, like when they come in, one of the things is that once they come in the door, everyone's very friendly, everyone's very positive. So regardless of how much someone's lifting in here, we don't really tolerate negativity. We don't really tolerate like people making fun of each other or putting other people down. It's all about support.
Yeah.
And I think that really helps. The key is really just like getting them to walk through the doors initially. So if you can kind of build that trust with people and build that rapport, whether it's through phone call or email or whatever your kind of onboarding process is, the more and more like you could do that. And I think that, for me, on the powerlifting side, it's a little bit easier because I have that track record. You can go see like the results are there. It's just really a matter of like, is this in their budget? Do they kind of vibe with me personally as a coach and our training style? Do they want to be part of a team, or do they want to just kind of be an individual? And depending on like those factors, like 9 times out of 10, when someone comes in for strength training, they sign up. The adults has still been tricky for me. And I think part of it is like just like, my identity and what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important, like as a business owner, that yes, it's important like to be practical and think, okay, well, Gen Pop is, there's more people, but it's also important to like, well, what does your business want to look like? What are you like? What is your like skill? So something like Cressy is a good example. Like they've done really well with just baseball players for so many years, but they also they deliver the results. They've proven they have a really good product.
Yeah.
So if you have a strong skill in a certain area, I think you can kind of overcome that. But I think part of it is just it takes time to kind of build that trust and kind of put that information out there. And then part of it is just like doing it in a tactful way to really kind of earn their trust. Because I think a lot of people, especially the Gen Pop, they're so afraid to be embarrassed. They're so afraid to like, are you looking at me? Do I look fat, or am I going to look stupid? So the more you can kind of build that trust, I think that's going to help like across all boards, no matter like what population you're targeting. And then depending on like what population it is, you may need to build more trust depending on like how like uneasy they are to come in. So it's a learning process and something that I'm still getting better with. But I think developing that relationship with them, making sure they feel comfortable, is the most important advice I can give someone, no matter like what your niche or population is.
Yeah. What about kind of where you're going? Okay, we're you've expanded. Okay, you've been here for a year soon, and we talked about online training, because you can also, like what you're in the powerlifting, there is a lot of science there. So you could do that from afar as well. And you seem to be like...
And it's a big part of my business, for sure.
Yeah.
So I just kind of see like more people like, they're on their phones all the time. People want information on their time. They want their like, custom program or whatever the case may be. They want that personal attention, but they want to do it on their time. People are getting busier with their schedules and whatnot, so they might not be able to make the times that you offer and things like that. So I do think it's important, no matter like what your goal is, to have some sort of online component, whether it's a big part of your business or a small part. I think it's important because I think a lot of the times like the old school coaches, they kind of like poo-poo it, but it's here to stay and it's growing rapidly. So I think it's really important that whether you're a physical gym or not, that you, or whatever like your main focus is. So for me, what I like to see is, for me, I think that we're in a good place where there's a lot of room for growth in this facility, and I want to really try and make sure that we're busting at the seams before we expand again. And I also want to make sure that the staff is doing well enough that they're like kind of comfortable and they're being taken care of, and that kind of leaves me with more opportunities that I could do more speaking engagements, or I could host more seminars, or I could do more traveling and do more like focus more on online coaching, where I could focus more on like maybe higher level type people and kind of work with them and kind of work with that. But I do think it's important that that people will kind of start to learn different skills and add different streams to their revenue, because I don't know, like the game is going to change whether we like it or not. And I think it's important that whether it's the social stuff or the internet stuff or online coaching, I think that it's really important that we start learning all those skills and we start to implement them, even if it's at a small level, because we don't really know whether 5 years from now, 10 years from now, this like kind of boutique gym model may not work anymore, and you got to be willing to adapt and change and evolve with the times to kind of support the people the way they want.
Speaking of revenue streams, so okay, you have some online programming. What else? I know I met Benny before, and he's doing some fascial stretching. What else are you guys? What are you offering here?
Yeah, so the belief, which is so like crazy to me, because I think the fascial stretch has been probably our best like additional stream. That's like in-house, which you would never. I would never think like, I thought maybe our nutrition program would be better and things like that. But that's been really good. And I think it's just been a good complement, because people want to train hard, but they also want to stay like healthy too. So the fascial stretch therapy has been a big one. We just started offering massage here as well. So we want to keep our athletes healthy. That's been something that's been a huge benefit to me, having a massage therapist in-house. That's been working with me personally, which has been great. And then our other coach, James, is offering some nutrition programs, so whether he does challenges or one-on-one stuff. And like I said, we have the InBody here, so you can be like more calculated with making better decisions and better adjustments based on that. Because anyone can kind of give you your macros online, but it's still like you're still kind of guessing.
Everybody's schedule is different too. Schedules are different. I think nutrition, there's a lot that goes into nutrition than just saying fruits and vegetables, right? So
absolutely, it's building the habits and things like that. So we really kind of like the precision nutrition principles and kind of their like way of doing things. Some of like John Berardi stuff is great. And then like the online coaching has been a big one for me. As our athletes have broken records and gotten more national rankings, and like I said, one of my athletes broke a world record, got on Mark Bell's Powercast and stuff like that. That's helped a lot, and that's really like kind of built my social media up a lot with people sharing things. And I've actually been using a system called Edgify, which I know is like kind of big, I think, in the golfing world, at least to my knowledge. But and that's been great for like doing voiceover and kind of drawing on it in slow motion for video analysis and things like that. So that's been a big thing for me. That's kind of helped kind of drive the business forward. And then just like other like kind of tiny things for like lower price point is that we offer like you could just buy a program, and then we do things like with ClickBank and things like that. But with some of our bigger name people, like our guy Larry, he has like 100,000 Instagram followers. He helps promote it.
Okay.
And we're selling a lot of our so if someone maybe doesn't want coaching but they just want to follow our program, they can do that too. So I think those like lower price point products, if you have a good following or people that can share it, is big, because it's I'll just pay $20, but then if 500 people buy the $20 ebook or product, that adds up, and it's a nice little like additional stream. We have some books on Amazon as well that kind of showcases our program, which it's not a huge moneymaker, but it's cool that we're helping people like all over the United States and even overseas as well.
It could lead to some more online coaching as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So I think that like we just started a podcast and things like that. So I think all the like those little things add up, and it's like the more people are consuming your brand, when they need that help, you're kind of there, and you're at the top of the mind awareness. So all the like those little things, they might not be huge money makers in the beginning, but it may lead to something, down the road. It's like kind of I think there's like an analogy like we water a bonsai tree and nothing happens for like 2 years, and then it just sprouts and just like explodes with growth. And I think that's a lot with business too. Is you might have this little thing that you got to keep nurturing, and then all of a sudden it's this huge return on investment. It's not always, progress isn't always linear. So I think those little things are, you may like, how much money is selling supplements going to make or whatever. And I think the advice I would give is if your clients are going to go somewhere else for it, you might as well like offer it to them. It's a problem they're having. It's a service.
As long as you believe in it,
of course, and I think that's one thing where we don't like really take on anything that we don't like believe in ourselves. And I think that's important, that you feel comfortable like delivering the service, and that it's a good product at the end of the day. So,
John, let's finish up with kind of you know, maybe something, you know, you like almost like a wish list, or maybe some things you like, I should have done this. Not saying,
Right.
oh, I want an X amount of facility, but like, is there some things you kind of wish you'd done earlier, or?
Man, that's always a tough question. So I don't know if this is like really the answer you're looking for or not, but I'm a big like kind of believer of like not really having regrets, because I think all your like failures and stuff, like it's a learning experience. And I think it's really important as a business owner, like sometimes like that you understand that. Man, that's tough. For me, like, I don't know if I would do anything different. I think like I'm really happy with how things are growing, and it's going.
Yeah.
And I think it's also I think it's good to like set high goals and want to move forward. But I also think it's important, whether it's training, life, or in business, that you also appreciate like where you're at too, and have that patience. It's really important to have patience. So for me, I think. I know, like, when we had the conversation, I think actually we had a conversation like 7 or 8 years ago, and this was a big light bulb, so hopefully this helps you guys that are watching. And I was actually, I don't know if you remember this conversation, but I was like, I want to start writing a blog, but I don't, like, everything's been like said already. This is like, you know, this is, and what Anthony told me was that for someone, it's the first time they're reading it. It's the first time they're hearing it. So I think that if I could do anything different, is just don't be afraid to fail from the get-go. My confidence has improved a lot, so just start sooner. I think maybe that'd be the only thing I'd change, maybe just start getting my name out there, send that email, like, you know, don't be afraid to reach out to people, like, you know, if you're watching behind the screen, like, don't be afraid to send like someone an email. If you want to come visit, observe me, cool. Send me an email. Like, you know, if there's someone else you vibe with that you want to learn from. Like, I used to like visit, like, you know, I visited Mike and Eric, and, you know, I went to like all over, you know, Westside Barbell and all these places. So I think just don't be afraid to start, just get started. And I think once you kind of get started, just keep the ball rolling, because that was the biggest advice I got from you, was like, you know, hey, like, for someone, you know, don't be afraid to like, you know, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but just like you need to put your voice out there, get started, just get started today. Do one thing every day to get better. I think so. Just don't be afraid to get started would probably be the biggest thing.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, you know, I've been fortunate enough to watch your growth and see you build Gaglione Strength from, you know, just working with the athletes and the wrestlers, and then your own space, and then now in here, and you know, kind of expanding the social media stuff and reaching more people, because that's what we want. And it's been great, and congratulations on all your successes.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for doing this, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And it's always good for people to kind of, for you know, people like you to share that experience of what we've gone through, to kind of help them make it a little easier on their when they want to open up.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Johnny.
Thanks so much.
All right.